It's homework time, yes! Happy time. Let's do it. Start by jotting our name down at the top of the page. I will write my name and you write yours. How's that? And let's go ahead and put today's date because it's always today somewhere, I think. We're going to use RDW, read, draw, then write, to solve the following problems. First off, Ashley ran a marathon and finished 1 hour 40 minutes after PJ. Okay, so stop there for a second and take note that Ashley's time, is it 1 hour 40 minutes? And no, it's 1 hour and 40 minutes longer than PJ's. PJ's time, we're told now, she had a time of 2 hours 15 minutes. Okay, so Ashley's, to go back for a second, is going to be 1 hour 40 minutes more than that. Carrie finished just 12 minutes before Ashley. So now you got to think, okay, so that's going to be, she finished before her, so that's going to be a shorter time. So how long, the question is, did it take Carrie to run the marathon? Let's start off with a little tape diagram here. I would like to start with PJ because we're actually given PJ's. And we know then we can figure out Ashley's based on PJ's. And then we can lastly figure out Carrie's based on Ashley's. So PJ is going to look like, let's just call it that. Okay. And let's jot in there that she has 2 hours 15 minutes. Now you have to stop and think. With Ashley, she finished after PJ, 1 hour 40 minutes after. So that's a longer time. Okay. So Ashley's tape is going to be longer. And we can do the math right now. Let's do it. She's 1 hour 40 minutes more than PJ. So if we add those together, we will have the total 2 hours 15 minutes, right? So 1 hour plus 2 hours is 3 hours, yeah. And then 40 minutes, I didn't write minutes there, squeeze it in, sorry. 40 minutes plus 15 minutes, 55 minutes. And for once in our lives, we don't have to do a whole lot of tricky stuff here. What we know here, I might as well just draw this so it's a nice complete tape diagram. We do know this. We know this difference is 1 hour 40. Oh, that's horrible. Okay, there we go. Try that again. 40 minutes. Writing small with this thing is particularly tricky, at least for me. All right, and now Carrie, she's 12 minutes before Ashley, so she is less than Ashley. She came in before, so her time is going to be a little shorter, just a little though. So let's go ahead and do that math too. So if we take Ashley's, here I'll do a little bracket here as well, so we know this right here is 12 minutes. So if we take Ashley's 3 hours 55 minutes and we subtract the 12-minute difference there, that would give us Carrie's time. So we have no hours to subtract, so it's still 3 hours. 55 minutes minus 12 minutes. Well, you can kind of do this backwards because there's no regrouping or anything. Take the 10 away. 55 minus 10 is 45. Minus the 2 is 43 minutes. So, oh, look at that. And that's what our question was. That's what we were trying to find there. Well, I'll circle it to indicate it. We wanted to find Circle K. We wanted to find Carrie there. So Carrie's time, let's make this as short and simple. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry for the messy writing. Carrie's time was 3 hours, 43 minutes. Nice job, Carrie. You're a superstar. Let's go on to number 2. Mr. Foot. And that's Foot with an E. Mr. Foot's deck is 12 feet 6 inches wide. Its length is twice the width plus 3 more inches. How long is the deck? How long is your deck? How long is your dick? I know it's kind of weird, but instead of drawing the deck, I'm going to make two separate tapes, one for length and one for width. So let me start with width. And then the length one is going to, we see, is going to be twice the width and 3 inches more. So there's about twice the width and 3 inches more. Okay, so this is width. Oh my goodness, the worst W ever. Width, and that's length. I'm going to try harder and still fail. Ha! All right, 12 feet 6 inches is our width. Okay, so now we can go and so this is a 12 feet 6 inch and another 12 feet 6 inches. And then here we have this little boy here is 3 inches. Try to make a bracket that small. There we go. Hey, beautiful. So in fact, if we write in here, let's go ahead. 12 feet 6 inches. And then this again is 12 feet 6 inches. The length is what we're trying to find. So all we have to do is add these up now. So the length equals, and I'm going to do it in vertical form here, 12 feet 6 inches, 12 feet 6 inches, and then I'll add in the 3 inches afterwards. Okay, so let's do this first. So it's 12 feet, and 12 feet is 24 feet. And now you know 6 inches and 6 inches is 12 inches. I know what you're saying. Bazumba, that is a foot, right? So altogether, that is 25 feet. And the 3 inches, we don't really have to do plus and equals. It's just 25 feet, 3 inches. And look at what we did. Boom! That's the answer. Okay. The deck is 25 feet 3 inches long. Have some great barbecues out there. Let's go on to number 3. Well, while those girls are out running a marathon and Mr. Foot is having a grilling good time on his deck, Mrs. Lawrence is baking. And she bought 12 pounds, 8 ounces of sugar. This is 1/4 of the sugar she will use to make sugar cookies in her bakery this week. I'm glad it's a bakery because 12 pounds, that's a lot of sugar to be using at home. A good thing it's a bakery. So that's only 1/4 of it, in fact. If she uses 10 ounces of sugar for each batch of sugar cookies, how many batches of sugar cookies will she make in a week? Whew, there's a lot going on in this one. This is similar to one that you probably did in class. Okay, but so the one with the hamburgers, if you remember that. So the sugar she has, okay, let's start there. Let's make this a little on the small side because we know we have to do 4 times this, right? So this is what she has, 12 pounds, 8 ounces. So I'm going to write next to it has. This is what she has. Now, that's 1/4 of what she needs. So to figure out what she needs, it's going to be 4 times as long. It's going to be pretty long. In fact, this is probably not even long enough, but I'm going to make it work. So, yeah, I'm totally chinsing here. Okay, so those are supposed to be equal. Oh, that's so lame. All right, so this, we'll place a nice little bracket on top. Oh, it's a beautiful bracket. Tell me you love my bracket. 12 pounds, 8 ounces times 4. That's what this is here. And that's what she will use. In fact, I'll write over there, will use. Okay. So now, obviously, before we can figure out how many cookies she can make, we need to know how much sugar she actually has. So this 12 pounds, 8 ounces times 4. Now, you probably noticed that 8 ounces is half a pound. That's right, because 16 ounces is a pound. So right away, I know what you're thinking, and we actually saw it, something very similar in the deck question. Oh, if I double 12 pounds, 8 ounces, that will give me a nice pound, and then I can double it again. So watch that. So if you do 12 pounds, 8 ounces. And we could say times 2, or we could just, just add it to itself to make it even a little clearer. All right, so now that's 24 pounds, 16 ounces, but as we already noted, that's 16 ounces is another pound, so it's 25 pounds. So that accounts for 2 of them. And now for the other 2 sections, we just need to multiply that by 2. So 25 times 2. Well, how much is 2 quarters? 50. So she's got 50 pounds of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. All right, so now she's going to use 10 ounces of sugar for each batch of sugar cookies. So how many batches of sugar cookies will she make? And the in a week thing, I mean, okay, this is this week, and so it doesn't really matter how many days. This is just looking at how many cookies can she make. So now there's a couple ways we can do this. We can say, okay, if we convert the 50 pounds just straight out to ounces, and then we can divide by 10, because it's 10 ounces for each sugar cookie batch. And dividing by 10, we remember, is just writing that times 10 slide backwards, right? And so that's actually pretty easy. That would work. Or we could say, if we take 10 ounces of sugar and say, well, how many, we won't go in that direction. I think doing the ounces is the easiest way, because 50 is 10 times 5, right? So if you do it this way, watch this. So what we're doing is, let me do it this way. I'll write out the whole thing for you, or with you here. So we're doing 50 pounds times 16 ounces per pound, right? Now watch how easy we can make this. If we call 50 5 times 10, and then we're still multiplying it by 16, and then remember that whole trick with the associative property that we can say, oh, hey, let's call this 5 times 10 times 16, which will be 5 times, well, 10 times 16. See what we just did? We just made it a little easier to do. 160. And guess what? You can actually, this looks like, oh my goodness, I can't do that, but you can. Watch. Just break it down into parts. 5 times 100 is 500. 5 times 60, okay, don't freak. Okay, so here, we'll write that down. So it's going to be 500, and 5 times 60 is, well, 5 times 6 is 30, times 10 is 300. See how we did that? So it's 800. And that tells us 800, you might have forgotten what we were doing, it's ounces in that 50 pounds. Now, you see, now doing that last little bit of math is not so bad, because we don't even have to really do division, like with the division bracket. We can just say 800 divided by 10, because it's 10 ounces in each batch of sugar cookies. What do we do? That's right. Yes. You remember that from Module 1, so it's 80 batches. All right. That's a lot of sugar cookies. So, Mrs. Lawrence. Normally I'd be lazy and just write she, but hey, feeling a little spry today. Mrs. Lawrence can make 80. Yes, my friends, 80 batches of sugar cookies. See, so that took a little bit of work and a little bit of time, but patience is its own reward. So let's go on to number 4. Well, Eureka Land is such a happy place while Miss Lawrence, the smell of her sugar cookies is wafting over from the bakery. Beth Ann is there diligently practicing her piano. And she did so for 1 hour, 5 minutes, each day for 1 week. Okay? And let's just note here, to clear things up, that we're talking about a week, a calendar week. This is 7 days. Okay. She had 5 songs to practice and spent the same amount of time practicing each song. How long did she practice each song during the week? Now there are a couple ways we could do this. We could take the total practice time for the whole week and then divide that amongst the 5 songs, and that would do it for us. Or we could instead first take her daily practice time, divide that amongst the 5 songs because she spent the same time. It's even sharing, fair sharing, it's division. And then multiply that by 7 to find how long she practiced each song during the week. Let's see, what would I like to do? I think I'd like to divide first. Okay, I think that will work out a little bit better for us. Let me think. Yeah, it will. Okay. All right, so this isn't a great one to draw for, except, I mean, like, okay, so there's one day, right? And then a week is going to be 7 times that. I don't know, like that. So this is 1 hour, 5 minutes. And then her week is, I'm not going to try to divide this up into 7 separate partitions here. I'm just going to say 1 hour, 5 minutes times 7 days. So this is her daily practice, and then we have her weekly practice, okay? And then that is going to be divided by 5 will give us time for each song. And see, that's why I said this isn't a great one to draw for, because the only way I can think at the moment anyway is to equals time per song. Okay, so let's take her daily practice, the hour 5 minutes. How many minutes is that? All right, an hour is 60 minutes and 5 minutes more, 65 minutes. So if we take those 65 minutes daily and divide it amongst the 5 songs she's practicing, and literally divide it as well, mathematically and in her practice time, well, how many 5s and 6? Remember this? Remember division? There's 1, because 1 times 5 is 5. When we subtract, we still have 1 there in the tens place, and we still have 5 1s to divide. How many 5s and 15? Got it? There are 3, because 3 times 5 is 15. We subtract, we get 0. We have no remainder. Great. So that is 13 minutes per day spent practicing each song. So now we want to figure that out for the week, and that's why I did it this way, because we can just take that 13 minutes a day and say, okay, across 7 days. All right, we can do this. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So there we go. That's it. See, we made that one pretty straightforward. So she practiced each song for 91 minutes during the week. Beautiful. Hey, guess what? There's just one more. Let's see what joys and beauties it beholds. Or we behold. It holds for us. Let's do it. All right, with all this baking, they're going to need some punch. Wash on all those sugar cookies Mrs. Lawrence was making before. So let's go to the concession stand where they have 18 gallons of punch. If there are a total of 240 students who want to purchase 1 cup of punch each, will there be enough punch for everyone? Okay, so again, this isn't a great one to draw. What we're doing essentially, though, is we're saying, okay, so if we have, here's our punch, right? And the whole amount of punch, love that bracket, is 18 gallons, right? And so what we're doing is we're dividing it into 1 cup portions. 1 cup. 1 cup, and we're just going to do our ellipses, our dot, dot, dot here to say, and so on. Okay, so there we go. So now if we want to find out how many cups then are in the 18 gallons. Okay, and there are a couple ways we could go about this. So let's take a moment and make sure we understand the relationship between gallons and cups. Because I tell you, remember I've told you, this little thing here, this is wackadoodle. And if you don't, you can go and ask like an adult on the street and they'll be like how many pints in a quart kind of thing. They'll be like, really, this is, you can do it, but, understand it's not that straightforward. All right, so this whole thing, let's call this 1 gallon. And within that gallon, there are 4 quarts. Quart, 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 quart. And then each of those has, I'm going to use a dotted line here. Each quart has 2 pints in it. Pint, 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 pint. And I should be writing PT, but it's too small space, so pint. And then each pint, and here I'm going to have to change color so the thing doesn't become so messy. Go with my orange. Each pint has 2 cups in it. All right, and change back to black. I said, there we go. All right, so now we know that 1 gallon is, well, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 cups. All right. So a couple of ways, again, that we can go about this, but if we just take the 18 gallons and say within each one there are 16 cups, so we can multiply that by 16, that would tell us the total number of cups we have, and that's the most direct method. I mean, we could convert to quarts and then to pints and then the cups, but I think this will be a bit more straightforward. I'm actually going to go back and do it with the partial products method, okay? So first we are going to do, and let's just map out what we're doing. First we're going to do 6 times 8, all right? And then we're going to do 6 times 10. You remember all this? It's been a while, I know. And then what's the value of this 1 here? It's 10. So we'll do 10 times 8, and then 10 times 10. And all those partial products, when we add them up, will give us a grand total number of cups in 18 gallons. Okay, 6 times 8. And when we do this, by the way, pay your respects to the place value here. Okay, we can't just get all crazy with it. All right, so 6 times 8 is 48, because we need to be able to add these up correctly, right? 6 times 10, it's 60. 10 times 8, yeah, 80. And I wrote 8 here again. I don't know why I was kind of spacing out. Sorry. It should be 10 times 10. Good thing I caught that. 10 times 10 is 100. All right, so now adding them up, 8 and 0, 0, 0 is, of course, 8. 6 and 4 make 10. 8 more is 18. Place that 8, regroup the 1. 1 and 1 make 2. So they have 288 cups. Yes, they have enough punch and some extra, so maybe the teachers can have some too. Okay, so they have 288 cups, which is more than enough. Exclamation point. Well, all right, congratulations, you've done it again. You finished another homework time, so I'll see you again once again. Yes, again, one more time, a few more times. It is, again, homework time.